Hello, my crypto friends. If you celebrate Christmas, I wish you nice holidays. This video might be a bit longer than usual because there are important things you should know. I do understand you want to skip and go to Bitcoin's predictions, but I would suggest that you do not skip the first part. If you remember, we had a challenge back in July, and the challenge was to guess the price of Bitcoin at the end of December. And the winner has the initials TRDL111. He or she predicted 92K for Bitcoin. So my friend, if you're listening, please get in touch with me. My email is in the description. You've been asking me to look at several coins, especially XRP, SHIB, and Doge. Actually, I've tried to find the correct date for the first transaction of XRP, but I have 4 possible dates. Even a couple of AI platforms give me a different date, as you can see on your screen. To erect a personal chart, we need the exact moment we take our first breath, and in a coin, the date of the first transaction. For a correct chart, we need the date, time, and place. Even twins have different charts sometimes because they're not born exactly the same time. In case I do not have the place or time, I just look at the planets. So as always, we will start by looking at December. I mentioned before, but the reason we look at the collective first is because in astrology there are 3 charts: the collective, the world chart, your country's chart, and the personal chart. The strongest is the collective, and no matter what the personal chart is showing, the collective chart will prevail and cancel the personal chart. I'll tell you an example. If you live in a war zone, no matter what your personal chart shows, things will be different for you. Astrology, as you know, is all over the internet now, but I really get very disappointed sometimes when I hear things like, what's the worst sign? It was this young girl on Instagram that she was going on, and she was referring to the sign of Scorpio. Poor Scorpio. Imagine being a Scorpio and listening to that. Now, how would you feel if I told you that all Americans are criminals? It's exactly the same thing. There is not a good or bad sign, nor a good or bad planet. Also, many times they say if you're a Scorpio, then you shouldn't marry a Taurus or a Leo. But funny enough, I've seen many happy couples that they belong to signs that other people say they don't match. The signs may not match, but not the people. Do you know astrology gets a bad name, and mainly, I think, because of some astrologers? I was going to explain you this time what astrology is and how does it work, but it will take forever. So that will be one of my next videos, and I hope you watch it. You know, we live at times that everything seems to go wrong. There's so much suffering and war. Everything got more expensive. But my friends, this will change. We're getting into a new era. And this is starting, well, this month, but mainly this summer. And it will last for the following 2 years. Actually, it will be the most important time in our lives. There are many videos on the internet that you can watch if you want to find out more, but I will explain it in few words. The outer planets, Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, and Saturn, which are the planets that they are in control, are all changing signs almost at the same time. We have never experienced this before, and I've heard an astrologer that this may happen maybe 6,000 years ago. Now, I don't want to make you worry, but things are not going to be the same as they were before, And that's for our own good. Our reality will change, we will change. Yes, the economy, the global economy will suffer, but I guess this is the only way that we're going to be able to change things. I've heard a Greek American astrologer called George Stathis, and she said that when the planet Pluto is at the first degree of the air signs, economy is in trouble. And Pluto is at 0 degrees now. He just entered the sign of Aquarius. Bitcoin will also be affected by this, and I'm pretty sure about that. And although June looks like a good month for Bitcoin, July with the planet Uranus, that's the planet of change and disruption, Uranus will make a difficult aspect to Bitcoin's Venus. But we will talk more about this when the time comes. Also, March and April will be interesting months. During these months, we have 2 eclipses. Venus and Mercury will be retrograde at that time. And Venus, have in mind, is the money planet. I'm pretty sure that the markets will get a bit crazy around that time. One thing that is really important, and it's starting in July, are the moon nodes, which are actually a mathematical point in the sky. That's the area that the eclipses happen. The nodes show our collective destiny, our lesson. They also change signs. They will move in the signs of Pisces and Virgo, and they will remain there for the next 18 months. The South Node means releasing, and is asking us to let go of all things we knew before, up to now, sorry, and what we're used to up to this time. I have noticed that every time a planet moves into Bitcoin's South Node, the price drops. Now, the South Node will move into the sign of Virgo that represents reality. But Virgo has also the tendency to worry, and sometimes too much. And the North Node will move into Pisces. The North Node shows the future, the way to go. And Pisces has to do with faith. So, the message from the universe is not to worry and have faith that at the end things will work out for the best. So that's the message from the universe. Do not expect things to go as fast in December as you like them to be. Instead, try to be patient towards yourself, but also other people. Although Venus, that's a planet that represents many things, but also what we enjoy, Venus will be in Aquarius from the 7th of December, and this means that we will enjoy socializing and meeting with friends. The last days of the month, Venus makes some difficult aspects, so I expect the markets to go a bit crazy. This is also shown in Bitcoin's chart. In December, Mercury and Mars will be retrograde, and there are a few things that is good to be aware of. I believe that Mercury needs a spokesman, because when it's retrograde, it has a bad reputation. It's pretty fashionable now to blame Mercury for anything bad that happens to us. But if we do not take responsibility for our actions, we're making the other planet or the person the bad guy. If you smoke, for example, and something goes wrong with your health, you don't blame cigarettes, right? Of course, with Mercury retrograde, we will probably experience some delays and miscommunication. We say one thing and people understand something else. Funny enough, yesterday I had a misunderstanding with my doctor, and he was really upset. And this is just because I've read his message wrong. We might also experience some delays in travel during Mercury retrograde, especially long-distance travel, and that's maybe due to weather conditions or other conditions. The positive thing, though, with retrograde planets It's an ideal to go back and complete old projects, fix things, and find new and better ways to do things. And Mars in Leo has to do with our creativity, love, and children. So it's an ideal time to rethink and to examine how to make changes in a creative project and make it better, or examine our behavior towards our partner and our children. In reality, though, planets never change direction. They never go retrograde, but from our perspective on Earth, they look like they're changing direction sometimes. If you look at the planets from the Sun, the planets are moving at the same speed and the same direction. As I mentioned before several times, astrology is symbolic, and although we're totally connected to the universe, some even say that we even might come from the universe, the planets do not create our character or determine our future. Our future is mainly determined from our choices. Everyone wants to find out what's coming in the future, including myself, but the most important chart is our natal chart that describes our nature. You know what they say, know thyself. And this helps us make better choices. Now, we also have Mars retrograde, and that's a very different story than Mercury. Mars will be retrograde from the first week of December until the end of February. Mars is the planet of energy and action, but is also the god of war. When planets are retrograde, they're closer to the Earth, so their energy becomes more intense. In this case, Mars becomes the troublemaker, so the tension will probably increase in December. The most difficult and important time for the retrograde planet is when it's stationary. This means it's not moving. Mercury will be stationary on the 15th, just for a couple of days, and that's when we have the full moon in Gemini. During these couple of days, it would not be a good idea to make any new agreements or any new beginnings. With the angle now of Mercury, Jupiter, and Saturn, do not expect that everyone will agree with our beliefs or ideas. I'm not saying now that you have to agree with everyone, but try to understand the other person's view. Now let's look at Bitcoin. Please have in mind that this is not a financial advice. I could easily be wrong. Where it gets confusing sometimes is when at the same time there are equally auspicious but also challenging aspects. It's easier to figure out how this will be played out on a person, but as you know, Bitcoin is so unpredictable. But me, as an Aquarius rising, I enjoy the challenge and the risk. But if you've been following me for a while, well, you have to admit that until now, we're doing pretty okay. Now, I do not believe that December will be as great month for Bitcoin as the previous months. The first week, I'm not 100% sure, but the price looks like it will be going sideways, or there could be a small correction. The auspicious angle from the planet Saturn to Bitcoin Sun and Mars to the moon of Bitcoin looks to me like it's holding the price. Therefore, in case the price drops, it's probably not going to be anything major during the first week of the month. After the 9th or 10th, things look like they're going to change. There are several difficult aspects. There is a T-square from the Sun to Bitcoin's Uranus and Saturn. Also, Venus at the same time does not make any auspicious aspect. Have in mind that there are many aspects, but I'm just naming a couple. So I believe there could be a correction around the 10th. Now, the moon makes nice angles around the 12th and 13. So probably we will see the price starting to go up. Now here is when it gets confusing. And although there are a few challenging aspects around the 15, Venus is in a conjunction with Bitcoin's North Node, and that's from the 13, 14, 15. So these days look pretty auspicious for Bitcoin. Around the 17th, the positive aspects start to separate, so I believe the price will drop again. Also, the nodes are in a difficult aspect to Pluto, so prepare for unexpected changes for a while. This could be due also to some conflict occurring in the world at this time, but then again, I'm not 100% sure. But in any case, it's good to be cautious with your investments. The days around the 25th do not look positive at all, so enjoy your holidays and wait for things to get better. I'm sorry to say, but I do not see anything really positive until the end of the month. With Jupiter in an aspect with Bitcoin Sun, there could also be a sense, a feeling that shall I buy or sell? In the collective, Venus also makes difficult angles. One is to Uranus, so the markets could be acting a bit strange at that time. But if you're going to sell or buy, that's not my decision, it's yours. Although the beginning of January looks a bit challenging, Bitcoin's birthday is on the 3rd, and during somebody's birthday, we make a map called solar return, and that's when the sun returns to its original position, and it shows the general picture of the year to come. That looks quite positive for Bitcoin. Venus is together with Bitcoin's Venus, and there is also a positive angle to Pluto. If you remember, I mentioned that March, April, but also July will be probably challenging times for Bitcoin. I'm pretty sure for July, but I haven't looked at March and April yet. But I will let you know when I look at those times in detail. So, my friends, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video, although it's a lot of astrology. If you did, I would appreciate if you press the like button. It helps also my channel. So have a good month. Take care. Bye.